Good evening, it is 6 p.m. and I am opening the January 16, 2024 meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission. Present in the room, Peter Crane, Jared Gentilucci, Skip Clark, and guests. Present remotely, geez, find people, Glenda Williamson, Melissa Danza, staff Tamika Murphy, good, Murky, nice. And more guests, welcome one and all. Find the cursor. Gonna get this way out of the way. Go to the agenda, and the first thing it says is minutes. So we have minutes from the last meeting on January 2.
Motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
Discussion, corrections, questions. Roll call, start here.
Gentilucci, aye.
Clock eye.
Somebody out there?
Danza, aye. Williamson, aye.
There you go, Crane eye. We'll try and whip through these COC requests. We have a certificate of compliance request for 42 Glenwood Road. This is not a construction project. This is recovery after an oil spill. There was a fair amount of work done near the wetlands for that, so.
Paul McManus from Ecotech here if you have questions, Mr. Chairman.
Hi, Paul, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Why did you drive all the way here?
I'm from Holden, so not too bad.
Okay, so we have the request along with a very nice site report describing what happened with lots of pictures. I have not reviewed the orders for this particular project.
We did, if I may,
Please.
we did note and ask for a little bit of leeway. The order says, I think it's probably standard language, it says as-built plan.
Exactly.
We asked you to waive that because, as you noted, there really wasn't anything built. Things were put back, you know, they did a lot of work, most of it under the house, unfortunately for the owners. But they did a lot of work, some outside, but basically everything was restored to existing conditions. So we're asking to not have to go through that step. Because there was not an engineered plan to start with that you could compare to anyway.
And as you said, it was remove a lot of polluted soil and replace it.
Yep.
That was really the extent of the project.
From your perspective, the real concern, I think, was the work outside at the toe of the lawn. There's kind of a sloping lawn in the front. At the toe of that lawn, there is a BVW area.
Right.
And we were initially concerned that they were gonna have to go in there, but they sampled, found the contamination hadn't reached that. So they were able to stop short
Oh, good.
of that point
That's
in terms
really
of
pleasant.
speeding things up.
Does anyone object to the omission of an as-built plan for this project based upon its particulars?
No. I'm okay with that.
Melissa?
I'm good.
Glenda?
I remember when this came through.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
Then, are there other questions anyone has about this project or results?
Was there notes of some leftover sedimentation and are erosion controls still in place?
There is a wattle remaining at the toe of the slope. We had that, thank you for bringing that up. We actually asked for, you know, you're okay to pull that and dispose of it. It's basically down at the bottom of the lawn.
Right.
Okay.
And again, no oil or other hazardous material went into those.
That's correct, and there's not even any soil accumulated on it.
Okay.
There was really no eroded soil. You know, as it turned out, it was not needed, but obviously it was there as a precaution.
Okay.
Yeah, then that should definitely be removed then.
Any other questions?
Could you please scroll down to that photo of the lawn with the wattles again?
They're right here, right?
No, keep going.
Keep going
Because
up.
it looked like there was like some sediment
Yeah, up a little further,
at the bottom.
right there.
Oh, that's an area we did call out, I forgot about that, thank you. We did call out, that is a very small area. There's a little bit of exposed soil, less than 100 square feet, where they did a monitoring well. They had to go, most monitoring wells are in the overburden in the soil before you get to the bedrock. Because the nature of the contamination went down to the bedrock, they had to actually do a bedrock well, which was very expensive, to make sure that they didn't have contamination of the bedrock aquifer. So there is that very small area there. This
is the wellhead right here, I assume.
That's correct. That's that bedrock well, exactly. So that is yet to fill in, but it's really not going anywhere.
Is this daylight for the house drain?
Yes.
It's where I would expect it to be at the toe, so. So this was not caused by, this is caused by the digging of the well and not by any of the other work that was being done?
Yeah, they had to bring in a full-sized, drill rig that you would have to drill a well at your house, as opposed to the little geoprobe rig that they do for most of the wells.
And it's just like regular topsoil or lawn material. It's not like spoils or anything.
No, it's
Okay.
it's just disturbed
Right.
from that localized area.
Does it stop right here, or did it make it all the way to?
No, that's it. What you can see there, you can see the
Okay, that is the edge.
tall grass. That's kind of a meadow area down there in the wetland.
Okay. Other questions?
Any soil removed from the property?
Lots.
Yeah, but where'd it go is what I'm asking.
It was, I can't answer it specifically. I did put a link in here to the DEP sites file. Typically, oil contaminated soil will go to an asphalt batch plant.
Okay, no, that's,
So I suspect that's where it went, because that's the least expensive way to get rid of it and recycle it in that way. But I can't swear to that. But there's, when you get into all the lab reports and everything, there's thousands of pages in the DEP file,
Right.
so.
Anything else? Oh my God, look at all the people who are. Sorry, there's a bunch more people joining.
Stephanie Wood, you may see there.
Yes,
is
I've seen her join.
Is from Hydro Environmental Technologies. Stephanie's been involved with this project. Hydro Environmental is a technical consultant, kind of reviewing for the insurance company.
Ah,
So Stephanie could
that's a
probably.
thankless job.
Yeah. Well, they like to, as insurance companies do, they like to have somebody ride herd and make sure that all of their money's being spent wisely.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
no, I'm good.
Stephanie, I'll ask, if you have anything to say in addition to what Paul has already said?
No, I don't. All of the information that you would ever want to know, and probably a lot that you wouldn't want to know, is all in those DEP files. So, please feel free to, and read them. It's quite the project.
Okay, thank you. I think I got most of that. Once more, any other questions or comments?
Nope, I'm good.
Then I'd like a motion to sign the certificate of compliance for, now I've forgotten the address,
42 Glenwood Road.
Thank you, 42 Glenwood. Noting that we accepted this one without an as-built plan.
So moved. Get out of that easy.
There you go. That's right.
A second.
There's a second. Other discussion? Roll call.
Gentilucci, aye.
Clock eye.
Dan's eye.
Williamson, I.
Crane, aye. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
If you send that to me, I will make sure it gets recorded.
I'll send that to you, Paul. Thank you.
Great, thank you much. Have a good night, and thank you
you,
for putting
too.
me first. Always good.
Yeah, this one isn't, well, this will go for much longer than I like tonight in the snow, but it's not too bad. So now we have another request for COC for 149 Kenwood Drive. I keep calling it Road.
I'll be here until tonight.
And we have as-built
I saw you coming in. I didn't realize.
with the BWV and the primary protection line, the septic, the well, the structure, the driveway. Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, you are here, good.
Yep.
We've been moving this around for a while, haven't we? This one?
What's that?
When did we do this one? When did,
Oh, a while ago, a couple years ago.
it was, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a date, but we have the book and page if we really wanted to look it up.
No, that's all right.
All right. Oh, well, look, here it is right here.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, it's only May of last year, not so bad.
2 years ago.
2 years.
You're right, it's over a year and a half. You know, I still haven't gotten used to 2024 yet, okay? I admit it. Questions, comments?
Nope.
Did anybody go out and visit?
I have not.
I have not either, but.
It's all visible from the street. And the erosion control is still in place until it starts growing and we mow, which won't be for a little while, or they won't. But
So the
No, we
lawn
got
hasn't
it.
taken yet then?
parts of it have, not 100%, but it's looking pretty good.
Melissa, how far should we go with this?
Typically we look for 80% stabilization. If we can get one mow, that's always great, but we look for the 80%.
I would say there's a couple spots that may not be, just a little bit of, there's a pile of loam in one spot that it was too wet to go. So they'll put that in place, but like the whole septic area, that's all green, that was all growing.
So there's
Oh.
still some landscaping to be done.
A little bit of landscaping, but like I said, the erosion control is in place. And it's gonna stay until everything's totally done, but because it's trying to go through financing and all that, they wanna just make sure that we go to the next step, if possible, just to clean everything up. There's no grading left to do. It's just a little bit of landscaping, basically. Yeah. All the heavy equipment, all that stuff is 100% done, and
Right, that's all gone.
and nothing's moved anywhere throughout the whole process. It's a very flat site. So
I'll tell you what, since nobody's gone and looked at it, I think I wanna punt on this for a meeting. to have us go, well, I don't know how much we're gonna see with the snow on the ground, that's,
Not really.
yeah.
Well, that's all right. That's fine. I mean, that's,
Yeah, and I have some concerns with it not being quite ready yet.
Okay, let's punt on this,
I'm okay waiting too.
and then we'll address it once we can get eyes on it.
okay.
Julian, does that cause any issues for you?
No, not
Owners?
yet. If it does, I'll come see you guys. Right now, it'll be okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Also, I'll find out whether we need a partial, maybe we can get a partial, but I don't know if we need that. So let's wait.
okay. Alrighty,
Not a
thank
problem.
you. Moving on. Yep, it's the emergency certification for the replacement of the culvert under the rail trail near Miles Road. Where to begin? We know that it started as clean out the culvert, and and during the operation, they discovered the culvert was collapsing, which caused. So let me actually pull it up. It's going to be easier if I pull it up to describe it than it is to do. Come on. Don't mind me. Go over here. All right, that's 68. That's way too north. Oh. All right, zoom way out. Sorry, it's going to take a little longer because I'm just not really good at this today. Is it that much further? Yeah, it is further this way. Is that 122, not 122A? Is that why I'm really broken?
Yes. Yeah, you want to go to the right, I think. Yeah.
That is hopefully Palmagussit. Yes, it is. And there's
You're in Hubbardston now.
Yeah.
a little too far.
I think if you click on the like the microscope on the side, you can probably type in Mile Road.
I can. What's the benefit of that, though? It's going to
He
highlight
purposely
so
does not like to do that.
I like to hunt and pick with the mouse, right?
Yeah.
The tour
Is how far away can Peter be from where we're trying to?
It's quite a
end up?
game, isn't it?
It's like an
Yeah,
adventure
that-
trying to find it.
Actually, I'm probably pretty close, accidentally. Yes. Okay.
Let's see from this angle.
Yeah.
So, right here, this is Miles Road, right here. So there is a 3x5 oval culvert from here to this area. Wait, where's the rail trail? Am I too far
Peter,
south?
can I be a pain and just have you
Please.
maximize the Chrome window?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, rail trails.
Oh, I'm off by a little bit. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. So there's a culvert under the road, 3x5 oval, as I said, that leads to this area, which leads to the collapsed culvert under the rail trail right here, which leads to the air pond. This culvert was blocked. And as they started to try and take care of it, it was collapsing inward. The capstones were not single layer, there was a single layer of capstone, but they were basic, there was a seam in the middle between them, so they got to collapse inwards. in addition to all the soft material on the sides coming in. It was quite a disaster. This culvert being blocked caused the culvert down here, which crosses the road and goes into Thayer Pond, to overtop the road, to just fill completely and to overtop the road. And that was why we said, yes, replace it ASAP. And we gave the emergency order to allow that work, which has begun, but is not yet finished. I visited it twice. Once the day after we issued the order. And again, just a second, let me find the right. That one. And again on, what day did I say? Ugh, I didn't write the day. Fantastic.
Saturday, was it Saturday, the 13th?
I do believe.
Probably.
I'm going back to your email.
Oh, actually, 14th. How do I know that from? No, I'm wrong. The 14th was when I went to Harmony Place.
I think it was the 13th.
I did not have my phone with me, so I could not take pictures. I apologize for that. But I did take notes. When inspecting from Miles Road, culvert pipe was not installed, so it was a completely open area. There are some ECBs installed. Okay, so there's the level of the rail trail. They dug down some and made it another platform, basically a platform that they could reach the rest of the way down. There are ECBs on that intermediate level. There's nothing inside what should be a culvert. There are, however, the water flows universally from this wetland through this culvert into here, through this culvert into Thayer Pond. And so ECBs were installed at the just away from the outlet into Thayer Pond. So siltation should be caught there. On east side slope, but only to that level that they created, not going to where the culvert should be. Here we go. Let me make this a little wider. Flow under Miles Road has overtopped the flow preventative measures. So at the inlet to the culvert here, there had been some time ago installed a gate, a fence. Not straight, but it actually comes out, it's multidimensional to capture rocks and sticks and beaver trash to prevent it going through. DPW installed fabric, so it's not waterproof, but it's pretty tight. However, when I was there, it had overtopped that boundary, so water is flowing through the system as designed. I did note that the water level in the culvert under the road is within, I didn't measure it, 6 inches, 5, maybe 8. I didn't have a tape measure either, so this is guessing. But it was pretty close to the top, but it wasn't overtopping it yet. Good. I will also note that the downstream culvert, well, it's downhill culvert right here, was within an inch of its rate, and from there it just overtops the road because there's too much flow. So this is still a very serious condition to me. I believe that we are still at risk, especially with when the next melt or rain or whatever comes up. It all depends on how long it takes to get this pipe installed. Austin Saganowitz, our town administrator, is here. If you wanted to speak to any of this, please do. To the status of the project as a whole.
Sure. I think you did a pretty good job. We first identified this as an issue with the significant flooding in both spots near both culverts. I think typically there's usually flooding in one location, which is the second culvert. I think this was a little bit more serious with the heavy rainfall. So we reached out to our partners, legislative delegation, virtually everyone that would listen to us, to try to come to a resolution. We made contact with folks from the Greenways, and they agreed to assist us as this culvert that was identified as the issue was located on the rail trail. And since then, we've been working in partnership with them to come to a resolution, and hence why we've been involved with the Conservation Commission to get this resolved.
Just a second now, I'm looking for, I may have photos from my first visit, which should be on the 4th. I have no idea what's going to be here, so let's go. Oh yeah, perfect. That was not useful. Come on, computer, do my bidding for a change. So this, when I got there, this is before we issued, no. Well, this is the 4th. This is, so at this point, some of the culvert had been pulled out for its rehabilitation work. There was about half the walkway for the rail trail, and then a very steep, as you can see, drop off. In fact, all the stones from the culvert had been pulled off at this point.
At the inlet end, right? That's not like looking straight on at the trail, that's to the right, the inlet coming from the basin.
This is the inlet side from the rail trail itself.
Yeah.
This has to be looking at the culvert proper. Again, that gray ground is the top of is the rail trail. A couple of photos of the nearby wetlands. This is both on this is on the side going into the culvert. This is the inlet side of the culvert from down much lower. I'm getting close and trying to keep my balance. This is the outlet side, which obviously you cannot see through. A good sign that it's blocked. There's not much water, which is good. Oh, this is that gate on the inlet to the culvert across Miles Road. A couple of those. Yes, ice was forming. This is the point where the culvert should begin that had been removed.
And also Peter's hand.
No, that's Colleen's hand.
Okay, I was that yours.
I mean, you can see there's obviously some turbidity, some siltation here, but that's to be expected. Leading up to where it is, blocked. This is...
That's the upper culvert.
Yeah, that's
the one with the singles.
That's the outflow of the upper culvert, of the next one.
The inflow.
Is it the inflow?
Yeah,
Could be.
because there's nothing at the outflow. It's the inflow where they put it there to keep the beavers from damming up against it. And it's just that single sheet of steel or iron. Do you call it steel or iron? I don't know. Whichever.
It was better.
Outflow, again, pretty full, although you can't see it in those photos. More surrounding, perhaps, wetlands. Pictures from Miles Road of washout, of things that happened during that flood when it overtopped the road.
Prior to any of this construction. Right?
Yes. Well, that's a hypothesis. I wasn't there the day before, but that is
well,
that is a reasonable working hypothesis.
It was a few weeks when it was really bad and
Yeah.
flooded, a month ago.
And again, places where you can see siltation made it all the way across Miles Road and down is heading into the wetland. Shot from Miles Road, a better view of the culvert.
That's the collapsed stone.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, the head stud's a top
followed by
stone.
multiple other collapsed stones behind it.
Yep, more pictures that look a lot the same, and you don't care about any of that.
This culvert's pretty deep, huh?
It's down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 20-some feet.
Yeah.
That's why it's not, it takes a lot of shelving to be able to work on it
Yeah.
without making a horrible mess, or we're ending up in the hole.
I believe this is the right one. Yes, it is. So, yeah, under Miles Road is several inches at the top of the culvert, and flow at the next culvert westerly effectively fills the culvert. When I looked from the rail trail, I saw that the wetlands were broken. There was a gap through the middle, and it was working around each end. So water's entering, whatever condition the water is in that's flowing is flowing into the pond. And I believe that some of the siltation that I saw the first time I was there on the outflow, I believe is either gone or has dropped out of solution, if you will. So it may have moved completely. It wouldn't surprise me if it moved downstream further into Thayer. So that leaves us with a couple things to think about. Discussion point number one. Is there still, we have an emergency order that supported the replacement of the culvert. DEP's position is that since the road is no longer being overtopped, which I would say is premature because we haven't had a rain event, and we know how close the water level is to that culvert, is the emergency over? I'd like a discussion on that. Don't all speak up at once.
You want me to add to that?
Please.
Just for the record,
Just-
Scott Morrison from Ecotech
There you
here
go,
with
thank you.
Colleen Abrams. We had discussed this. I think based upon the fact that the road has overtopped in the past, and between that and potential icing problems that you may have in the foreseeable future, along with, it's my understanding that there was some issues with access down to the Devereux School and buses and that sort of thing. So I think it's based upon that. I think it justifies the emergency certificate to be issued. My understanding is that they're looking, as soon as the water level drops a little bit, they're looking to put in a 5-foot round culvert, so something substantially larger than what's in there, which should be able to take any flows that come through underneath the roadway or over the roadway if that's an issue.
Do we know how large the original stone culvert was? What the size of the opening was supposed to be?
We discussed it, and there's the comment that Chris Kolofsky was making is that the most they've ever seen as far as what would have been the opening height would be up to 2 feet. It hasn't been 2 feet for a long time. The town partially repaired it maybe 10 years ago. And when that happened, they repaired the outlet end, but not the inlet end. So the inlet end has continued to be in a collapsing condition. So maybe it was 4 feet wide, and at most, when it was built, would have been 2 feet high, which was fairly similar to the one that we replaced maybe 3/4 of a mile in a year or two ago under the direction of the Concom with the permission. At that time, DCR thought they owned it, the rail bed. So DCR and the Concom approved that, and we were doing trail machine maintenance. We had hired a contractor to redo drainage or clean out drainage and perhaps begin surface work on the trail. And so the DCR and Concom said, go ahead and take care of that culvert. Again, there wasn't much headway on the culvert, but the beavers were digging a hole in the wall, and we had a big hole in the ground there. It was probably 5 feet deep, and it was a hazard for people. Anyway, so the point is, those culverts were made with flat tops and not really serious walls. Nice big slabs on top. There's a lot of big slabs that Bob Salvador, working with the DPW, with Chris Kolofsky's crew, have put off to the side there. You can see a lot of rock was in there, but if you don't have the sidewalls, eventually it begins to collapse. It's also got a lot of height on it. I don't know, I'm going in circles, but the size of that culvert. So really, and when you look at the width he's got, it's like, has he got enough width there for the 5-foot pipe that we've ordered and that is now sitting in the DPW yard, and kind of just barely, but he also needs to have room on the sides to make sure the channel is straight going through, and that he is allowed good room for stone to be put on. So it's got to have a good straight base and the bottom flat, and he needs the material cleaned out carefully, which they did an amazing job working together with DPW trucks and Salvador, slow but sure, keeping everything tidy, cleaning everything out. And they saved a whole lot of material, and still, you saw the amount of material. They were slow and careful without taking it all out, taking it away to store at the DPW yard so it wasn't left in piles and running down the road. And all that went well, and then we had 3 inches of rain, and we had asked for something to make sure it wasn't coming in on the inlet across the road so that we didn't get a big flow. And at first they were going to use the filter fabric with piles of grindings, and they said, no, we're going to use sandbags, which is wonderful. The sandbags worked really well, but as soon as we had 3 inches of rain, it was flowing over the top of the sandbags, just pouring, and also starting up to go out over the road again at the single culvert up the hill, or down in the hole, I guess we should say.
Right.
So they removed some sandbags in order to let the water go because it was going over the road. And that, of course, caused some to flow out from the culvert. But when you do work of that sort, you have some, you just can't avoid it. And so some water did go, but meanwhile, a lot of perfectly wonderful clean water was coming out from Molten Pond to the pond across the road, a little pond, and out into Thayer Pond, and allowing water to go that had to have a place to go. And so that cleaning, the work they did to make sure that wasn't all that material in there when it flowed, I think was worthwhile. Then we had, I don't remember which snow, rain, and then the second rain, but that second rain was really a challenge. And then the ice, we've been going out by hand and cleaning off while the DPW had a vacation weekend. We've been keeping it cleaned off and they're entitled to their vacation weekend. One was ice fishing, which is really good. Anyway, we're keeping it ready to go. But Bob Salvador, who we brought in to do our part, which was the excavator, which the town doesn't have, in collaboration with the town, he doesn't want to try to work in the muckiest, wettest conditions. He would like us to make sure we get it as dry as possible. So the question is, can we do it right away, or do we need to wait until it's had a chance to dry out a little more from the rain we just had? It's hard to say, but we don't want it over the road, and we do want to get at least a temporary hold on that water, and so that we can get the stone in, get the gravel in, step by step, and the material that was in there in the first place, and compact it as well as we can at this time of year.
Right. So let me also, for everyone else, complicate this problem just a little more. If you follow this, let me do it this way. Come on, because I'm going to link 2 projects together. If you follow this...
Can I interrupt for 1 second? I just want to say the redeeming thing about protection, because I said that we put the sandbags in. We also hired S&M Farms to put a double high layer of straw, not straw wattles, but straw bales. They came out with their waders, and under the direction and instruction of the DPW and Salvador crew, they placed them in a horseshoe outside the culvert, because if you put it right smack against the end of the culvert, it's not going to work. So they gave themselves a horseshoe, following the direction that you had given us when we were out there looking at it. But when they took the sandbags, everything went flying, which was horrifying, because we spent money to have the fancy way, but it didn't hold. However, there was not a big flow, because we had already done the clean out. So it's not like there was something wildly horrible to happen. Okay, I'm done.
So this, if you go back here, is upstream. And if you cross Molten Mill Road, you go to this little wetland. And if you cross this wetland, you cross 56. What's right here? It's the dam. And DEP and DOT and any other agencies involved want to get water out of this pond, which of course would send it straight through here into this pond, which will go, therefore, directly through this culvert. They have thankfully held off on their watering, or their water pump, siphon, whatever they were doing, plan, until this culvert is in place. But they can't wait forever either. So we have a lot of moving parts to coordinate to make certain that we don't cause a problem on any of these projects that we have, or for that matter, this guy's property. He was here last time. I've seen the two large culverts that do not have bottoms anymore. That are on the outflow of this. Anyway, so I'm back to asking the question I asked before in the discussion. Is this, does Concom still consider this an emergent condition?
I would say yes.
I would say until the new culvert's in, yes. You said, who was it that said that they felt it was not anymore?
DEP.
Oh, okay.
Because from their perspective, water is no longer overtopping the road. And so the condition that they were talking about has not recurred. It is my opinion that the problem is not solved. We just haven't had more water to show it again.
To cause another problem. But it could. It could happen tomorrow.
Absolutely can.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would say it's still, until the culvert's replaced, I would still consider it emergency situation, yeah.
Glenda, your opinion?
She went to sleep.
Uh-oh, do we lose her?
She's muted.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I agree that the installation of the culvert should be part of the emergency order.
Melissa?
Yeah, I think as long as we agree that the, potential for flooding and downstream impacts are still an ongoing issue. I mean, I think those photos were pretty damning in themselves too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm not taking a formal vote, but it is the view of the commission that this is still an emergency, so the emergency order still stands, which we, Tamika, do you remember the end date on that?
19th, it's the 19th. My husband printed it for me to bring it here, and he said, you can't finish that in 3 days. I said, oh, he was just printing, but I think we need a little, it says a month on the form that I read, so if you could make it the month, that would certainly be beneficial. From the 4th, so it was the 4th of October, 4th of January was the first day, but if we had the full month, there's no doubt that both Bob Salvador and Chris Kolofsky are fully on deck with finishing it and getting it wrapped up, but we don't want to do it and make a worse mess. Our goal is to
no, we don't. We don't want that big piece of machinery to go to that level, which is no longer stable because of the runoff, to have it collapse. That would not be good.
That's really kind of terrible.
So is it just needed to extend till the end of the month?
I would say yes.
We can do
Because I think we have to vote to ratify it anyways, because you were the only one who issued it, right, Peter?
That's true. I am the only one who did. So
we can include that in our ratification.
Okay, Melissa, how about a motion?
I move that we ratify the enforcement order. I'll just say for the project as discussed, for an extension until, is it the 30th? January 31st?
31.
31st.
It would be, well, I think it would be like the 4th of February.
I was just counting the days, so
okay.
if we do the full 30 days, which I believe is the maximum we can do.
That's a Sunday. So Monday's the 5th. Oh, but if it's 30 days, hold on, 30 days, that becomes
Saturday the 3rd.
The 3rd.
Yeah.
You could always issue it today, 30 days from today as well.
Depends on the weather.
Which would
So we need to still ratify the initial enforcement order, and if I would just, so the initial 30 days, if we need additional time, we can say an additional 15 days, calendar days. I don't think we need to worry about the specifics of the date yet then. So do we just want to do upon 30 days from issuance of the original, or do we want to try and get some leeway with 45?
Here I would need some advice from the people involved about what's reasonable, when can the work continue, and how long will it take to install the pipe and put all the fill back to make it stable.
Well, for instance, the next 3 or 4 days, granted it may be sunny, but it's going to be super cold. So when we reinstall all those sandbags, thank you to the DPW, then if it overflows the road, we could have a really ugly, icy situation. Next week, it's supposed to get into the 40s for a little bit, which can be good for, everything has its advantages and disadvantages. The town is looking to be able to get the backhoe down to declog the beaver clogged culverts that they put in under the rail bed into Thayer Pond. They're 2/3 clogged again.
But
So,
in
and the
an
problem is they can't come down the hill with the ice, so
in
I
an
can't.
ideal condition,
Okay,
how long would it take to install the pipe and backfill, basically restore all the fill that had been removed? Is that a 3-day project? Is it a 10-day project? I mean, under virtually ideal conditions where they can just go and work 8 hours a day or whatever.
in ideal, 5 days.
Okay.
5 or 6 because, they're coordinating, collaborating, and then the DPW is working on the snows. I mean, you just don't know about. So ideal conditions with the two groups collaborating, 5 days.
Okay.
But with storms and ice and who knows.
Right,
could be longer.
that's what I'm gonna start adjusting for, but I needed the baseline.
Thank you.
So let's just stick with the initial 30 days because it's only like 1 day in between that and our next meeting. So if we need to issue another one or extend, we can, do so. And I'm sure in the 1 day, if something is needed.
It's worse than that because our next meeting is the 6th, which is after this one would have expired if we just do 30.
Do the 3rd. 3rd would be 30 days, yeah.
Right. But it's only, I guess, it's only like 1 work day.
Well, why can't we just extend it to our next meeting?
That's,
yeah.
At that point, 45 from the 4th is going to be what, the 17th or 18th?
18th, I think.
Of February. I would propose just do the 45 days from the 4th. Make it easy. And as we approach that, so I think I'd like to see you guys again at the next meeting to talk about status, to know where we are, to see how well things are going, to know if there's another action we need to take.
And if the job is complete before the next meeting, we can inform you that.
Yes, absolutely.
Remote or something, okay.
Alright, so I'll move to ratify the enforcement order as written, with an expiration of 45 days upon the original issuance. And do we want to put in the motion that we are acknowledging that the replacement of the culvert is a part of the emergency certification?
I think good idea.
I think it's a very good idea due to the risk of overtopping on any water event, any precipitation.
I'll second that.
Other discussion? Roll call.
Hawkeye.
Gensalucci, aye.
Danza, aye.
Williamson, I.
Crane, aye. There we go.
Perfect, thank you very much.
All right.
Peter, it's
Yes, ma'am.
Tamika. I just wanted to let Colleen, I will update the emergency certification and send you a new copy with the corrected expiration date on it for your records, okay?
Okay, the only other thing I'm wondering about, not to bring up a can of worms, is that can that emergency certification be written to Wachusett Greenways and the town of Rutland, since it's a collaborative project between the DPW and Wachusett
Town of
Greenways?
Rutland is not an owner.
No, we're not the owner.
No, but they are doing some of the work.
We can do,
Well, and all the other work that they've done that relates to Miles Road has been done by the town without even consulting with Wachusett Greenways.
That's
early-
true, but it's not related
That's
to the
passed.
emergency order as given
I see.
or as issued.
Okay, understood. We'll accept that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, we're taking a long time to go through this really short agenda.
Peter, is an NOI still gonna be needed at some point?
Yes, oh yeah, what I don't know is how quickly after the condition is cleared that the NOI has to be filed. That's a process question I don't know the answer to, but yes, without question an NOI needs to be filed. I've already told Colleen that.
Okay, that's good.
Moving on, we have a letter of interest for joining the Conservation Commission from Timothy Keenan. Is that you? Hi there, nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Peter Crane, Jared Gentillucci, Skip Clark. Online, the people you can't see are Melissa Danza and Glenda Williamson.
Should have brought pictures.
An absent, that's true. And there's an absent member, Joe Delaquilla, tonight. For anyone who hasn't read it, here is his letter of interest. Very interesting.
That's the DEP letter.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That is not a letter of interest. We'll ignore that. Hey, that looks like a letter of interest. For somebody who works with computers so bad, I'm so mad at it. So you've done a lot with stormwater, huh?
Well, I mean, I've done a lot of heavy highway construction.
Okay.
Along with that, you know, you have stormwater work. I am by no means a stormwater expert.
Okay, fair.
But, you know, from the actual installation and oversight and maintenance of it, you know, that's my responsibility on all my projects that I do, you know. So I have experience with it. Following plans and meeting with conservation commissions and stuff like that, yeah.
It looks like most of your experience is in the large highway-like projects, yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's...
Bridges.
Fortunately, we don't have a lot of that in town, but that doesn't, a lot of what you know is applicable just on a smaller scale.
Right.
Anyone else have questions?
I mean, just so you know, I saw the vacancy on the, we just moved into town a couple of years ago.
Well, welcome.
You know, thanks. Nice town, very happy. You know, looking to maybe get involved a little more. So I perused through the town website a little bit. I have met a bunch of people. I saw the vacancy, kind of thought thought about maybe a different board or, you know, to maybe just get my feet wet, but, saw the vacancy, seemed like it had been up there for a little while, so I figured I'd throw my name in.
Great.
Just to try to help out a little if I can. If I can't, you know, I completely understand and so.
Well, there is the open position and we have one other interested party. I have no idea when the select board might be looking at this. Do you? Okay.
Peter, I can put it on their Monday agenda, January 22nd.
Oh yeah, it's Monday, isn't it?
Certainly, I think want to give the commission an opportunity, as you mentioned, you have several candidates to discuss what your recommendation would be as well.
We have, we did meet with the other candidate. He came in a couple meetings ago. And now we have this gentleman who came in.
Did the other candidate submit a formal letter of interest yet?
No, not yet, they haven't.
I don't think so.
They didn't know what it all consisted about.
Yeah. So I think obviously one of the things that the board would probably ask to consider is having a formal request and then whatever the recommendation.
Absolutely. Yep.
Procedure.
Have most of, I mean, you mentioned stormwater here. What sort of other wetlands interactions have you had with the Concom? Or have you?
You know, it would be I do most of our work as Mass DOT.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so part of that is they'll already have, you know, started the process, we already know what's required. My job then is to get a hold of the Conservation Commission in that town, meet with them on site, go over whatever they think is important. We already probably have a plan that shows what they want for erosion control, where they want it. And then if we're doing anything like a dewatering, like I just did a big culvert extension and, you know, we have to set up pumps and we're dewatering, you know, all the permits are already, have been already procured. You know, whether it's Army Corps or whatever, but we have to follow, we have to follow that, set it all up. You know, it's not a ton. It's not like we're doing, we're not an environmental company.
Right.
You know, so.
That's
I do kind of, you know.
I'm just trying to get a grasp of
the biggest part of what I've done is probably like culvert extensions where we're dealing with dewatering plans. We have to submit a dewatering plan, you know, where we're gonna set up the pumps, how we're gonna contain, you know, how we're gonna contain silt, how we're gonna do this and that. Yeah.
Why Concom as opposed to some other board?
I saw the vacancy.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Other questions?
Tim, I'm guessing you're familiar with order of conditions, you've had those on your projects, yeah? And I see you mentioned SWIP, so actually implementing SWIPs on your projects, you have experience with that, that's
We do
good.
have to do the, you know, I usually have to responsible for a walkthrough, just for an environmental walkthrough every couple of weeks or a week, depending of, you know, if you have any rain events or whatever.
Right.
So we have another engineering company that draws up the job-specific SWIP. And then it's up to me to follow through and get the reports in and stuff like that.
Okay.
And if there's any maintenance required, or if something isn't working, you know, possibly have to fix it, come up with a different idea, stuff like that.
All right, thank you for coming, thank you for your letter of interest. I'd like you to stick around for after the meeting to have a fast discussion with your opinion of the meeting and how it's gone, but I don't want to do that now, you haven't seen a whole meeting yet. If you don't have that opportunity tonight, that's fine, we'll do it some other time.
I guess stick around.
Okay. Alrighty.
I like how you basically just handcuffed him there.
Play to your
You
strengths.
have to stay till the end of the
That's
meeting.
right, I'm making you stay.
That was pretty good, Peter.
Thank you.
Make sure you tell them exactly how you feel.
Well, I don't know. Never mind. I'm just going to stop right now. Moving on, we have a wetland inquiry, resident inquiry regarding wetlands on a property on properties on, well, they say on Main Street, but that's a little fuzzy. There's the big one right there.
Peter,
yes.
Tamika, I had emailed today, the resident that requested this asked if we could please push it to the next meeting because they were unable to attend tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you want to hold it, I let them know I'd put it on the February 6th agenda.
All right, thank you. Then we're going to skip right over this. Talk about erosion concerns at the Heights. At previous meetings, there have been allegations of runoff with siltation. And so on the 13th, by the way, the 13th was the date of my the rail trail visit. I did actually 3 sites that day because I had some spare time, shockingly enough. So first, let me get this one. By the way, I am starting to write up formal site visits on these. I just haven't gotten all the way through it, and I don't have a complete form, and I haven't decided how it all fits together, but there we go. So this does not talk at all about the previous reports, well, or talk so little about them, it's almost not talking about them. When I went on the 13th, all right, wait, I bet I need that silly window again, don't I? Which, do I still have you? Yes. Let me go to the Heights. Come on. Fine. I'll do it this way. I can hear people yelling at me now in the background. Oh, there is no Rutland Heights way. Nope, gonna have to do it the old way. With a very unresponsive system.
We were supposed to update.
Oh, Edison, it's got Edison. I gotta go this way anyway. All right, while I'm waiting for this to go in, to fill back in. There's the project on the Heights, which has erosion controls that lots of people have looked at recently. Great. And we have not seen any evidence when in either of the, or actually any of the site walks that I can think of that show a problem with the erosion controls or any siltation around or through them. So there's the Heights project at the top, the big hill that goes into this thing that isn't marked as a wetland, that's a pond. And then there's Rutland Heights Way, and there's the real pond that everybody thinks of as the pond. It is the allegation that that siltation made it into that big pond through some route, probably stormwater based. I am not going to say anything about that. What I will say is what I did see is, let me go back to the text. So in my opinion, there's evidence of siltation from what I'm calling the new road is the newly dug, I don't remember what the road names are going to be in the Heights, but there's the old road that we all went up originally, but downhill of that slightly, 100 feet, is their new entrance where they are building, I believe, their, for lack of a better word, community center. Their first building is going up. Along that road, there's evidence of siltation all the way from the road into that little, the mini pond And it's running along, it's not running in the road, it's on the swale next to the road through the riprap. There's evidence of it, of siltation all the way down. Now, the date that I went is the day of the rain right after it stopped. Or by the time I was there, an hour after it stopped. So there was clear evidence of it. I can't say when it got there, but the siltation is clearly there. And that pond is, looked that yellow mustard, dirty mustard color that we've heard talk about before. Now, I will also say that pond has ECBs, has socks basically filled up all around it to contain it. Fine. Then along the new road where they're putting up the first site, there is evidence of siltation along the roadway, not in the roadway, but this is where I have pictures from the next day, which I now am having trouble. That gonna work? No. There we go. Now I have to do this. So this is from the top of that road looking in. Here's the new building. This is built up, and you can see here where this side is degrading and all that silt's got to go somewhere. Let's see how many photos I have. It's close up. Continues on down the road, which is downhill slope. Yep, more breakthrough, even across this little stone way. I'm approaching the end of the road. Yeah, this manhole is effectively at the intersection with Rutland Heights Way. To my mind, there isn't a problem with all the stuff that's around it because this is kind of what it's designed to do. To my mind, the issue is that it appears to be escaping down the path. This is further along Rutland Heights Way. Here's the edge of the ECB. And you're going to see evidence of siltation because I just took a lot of photos. And I took this one to show edge of the ECB, a hill, which is in good shape. And then what I'm just calling the swale, whether it's intended to be that way or not, that's the way it's acting now. This looks better than it did the day. This is that, not a pond, not marked as a wetland feature. You can actually see the ECBs placed all around it. And this doesn't look bad. It was that yellow color 24 hours earlier.
Do we know, is there a culvert that directly connects this, I'll call it the small pond?
I do not believe so.
Okay, I didn't think so either.
This is and it's not even marked as a wetland in the DEP maps.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long this stays wet out of the year. Mm-hmm. It's not surprising it was because it had just rained, but as I said, it is my best conjecture without watching the water flow, that turbid water is running, taking parts of that hill with it down the country drainage, if you will, along the side of the road, down this swale thing right into that. A couple more photos. This one was actually a little more disturbing because this is, again, the intersection Rutland Heights Way is just off the photo. So this is whatever that road is called. Yes, there's a very nice drop inlet here. There are great ECBs around it, but in spite of that, look at all the siltation that's out here and over here. That's where I got concerned. again, I can't say this is new or old, and I'm not trying to say, my God, there's a huge problem that we have to issue orders. I'm saying this is what I noted on the day that I visited, and it stuck out to me. Water was, I could hear the water running into this drop inlet, not running, entering. It wasn't, again, it's not a stream, it's just entering it because it's getting through the silt sack. That doesn't mean anything more than water's there.
So there, you did notice a silt sack?
Yes, I did.
Structure? Okay, that's good. That was gonna be my next question.
So as I said, it concerns me that I see all this stuff out here.
This is all still on the construction site though, right?
Yes, we are on the construction site, but this is their ECB in the road. And you can even see some here and here. Again, there's evidence of siltation in heavy rain.
Yep.
Right, so this is that exact drop inlet here. Again, I see places where a hill that's degrading naturally in the rain, fine, but look at all the stone that's got to wash through to get it out. There's clearly silt here, there's clearly silt here. That doesn't mean this isn't doing its job. And I didn't actually look closely inside the drop inlet to see what it looked like.
Okay.
Which side of the road is this? Oh no, this is the exact same one, just looking at it from up the road ever so slightly.
I wonder if that's a silt sack or just filter fabric.
Well, I do see that we have a couple people online. We did earlier. I see Wesley Fills, who did the wetlands work for this. I did see Laurel, and is Ron here? Ron, are you Rec 64?
Yes, I am.
Aha! Basically the project manager. So I know that I've said a lot of words, and I know that I realized after I sent my email that the wording of it may have made it sound like, oh my God, Harmony Place is in trouble because we need you to come and talk to us. And I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to give that impression. But I thought that we should have a discussion about what I've seen, what I've documented here, so we can see the right way to move forward.
Yeah, I can see a lot of this. It looks like we have to add some more of these wattles, probably layer it a couple more times, because the amount of rain we've had over the last 2 months has been incredible. And our site contractor has done an incredible job. He built all of the stone dams, the screen stone that came from the site. The wood next to the wattles, that's ground up stumps that helps also filter out the kind of water runoff, because we know we can't grow anything right now. So they are going, in my opinion, well beyond, well, I shouldn't even say well beyond. They are doing everything they can to keep this nice and clean. Now, I can see that silt on this last picture that you have here, and I do believe we should go clean that up. And that way we can monitor it a little bit better, so we know that it isn't an old silt. And I'll be talking with him tomorrow on this.
Right.
If there was, yeah, well, I don't have to have the pictures because I'll be standing there.
You'll see it. Well, except for the part that's covered by snow and has been sanded over for snow.
Oh, that's right too. That's right too. You got snow today. You received a lot of snow today. That's right.
Again, I'm not trying to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys are doing such a horrible job. I just wanted to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I did meet with Alan Rentala out there last week, and we discussed all of the precautions we've been taking, and he was very pleased. At least that's it he expressed to me, with all the efforts we've been putting in, and we're just staying right on top of it. as much as absolutely possible. And I wish we didn't see this silt now, but that's something more that we're going to have to pay attention to. We're going to have to work at a little bit more.
Yeah, we appreciate the work you've done so far, and you're going to continue to do. We have faith in this succeeding. I do have one question about, actually two questions. When the ECBs that run across this road, what is this road's name? I already don't remember this.
I'm sorry, what is what?
What's the name of this road that you created or started?
That's called Fidelity Drive.
That's Fidelity. Thank you. So when were the ECBs across Fidelity Drive installed?
I'm going to say probably beginning of December, right after the asphalt was put in.
Okay. My other question about it is I've noticed each time I've been there that the ECBs are open in the middle. Now, I'm not sure that's a problem.
Well, that's opened up in the morning so the trucks, the carpenters, the excavation people can drive in without driving over those.
Right.
They're supposed to be closing them at night, and unfortunately, I'm not there at night. But
right. I will say it appears they're not, because every time I've been there, when nobody else is there, I know I'm the only person there, and I'm not trying to trick anybody, but I can go when I can go. And each time I've been there with no one else there, it's been open. So if we could get you to persuade them to close them.
Yes, we will. And if we have to add more, we will.
Yeah, the edges are the only places that concern me. I don't think we need more in the middle. I don't think we need to make 2 or 3. I mean, it's a reasonable road that's been cut in. And
Peter, what's in the background of this picture at the top? Is that
this is Rutland Heights Way?
That's the existing road. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay.
Okay.
Was there any? Did you notice any sediment in Rutland Heights Road, or what we're calling Rutland Heights Road, the existing road?
Some, but not a lot. Okay. It's enough that I could make the case that it's just stuff that's in the roadway.
Yeah.
There wasn't so much on either side of this entrance. It's about the same. It's not so much different on the downhill side that I would say it came out of this place.
Okay. It didn't look like what we're seeing in this picture.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I did actually have another couple of questions. So this inlet, is that eventually going to connect to the town's storm system? No.
No, all of the drainage has its own retention basins throughout the site. And actually, Wes could explain a little bit better for you. But no, they do not connect to the town's drainage systems.
Yeah, I went looking for the plans and I couldn't find them really quickly, so I didn't look that much further for them. So, I mean, there is a detention basin on this hill.
That's a temporary one.
Right.
We put that in temporary to control that side of the slope. The retention basin will be on, as we're looking right now, to the right.
It will
down
be, okay.
You're talking about that swale,
yep.
That stone swale that you're talking, it's in that area.
Ah, okay. So where will this drop inlet go? Will it go to that detention basin on the right?
That's correct.
As an input to it or as the outflow?
Well, they do. All retention basins do have an outfall at a certain elevation.
I'm just trying to get my head around elevations because I see where this is, and yeah, when the detention basin is dug in, it's going to go down some, but
oh yes, it's on the other side of that little bit of a hill to the right that you can't see in this picture.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it will be if I shoot back a few.
Oh yes, it's. If I'm not mistaken, the bottom of this retention basin is 4 feet. I think it's 4 or 6 feet lower than that catch basin. Inlet, outlet, I mean.
Basically up here, right?
No, we have more to the left.
Oh, more to the left, okay.
More to the left.
So it's probably in exactly the right one here.
Yes, it's got to go down that hill, in that direction more,
okay.
yes. probably to the right side of that silt fence that you see right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's that where the silt fence is to the left, that's going to the street. That's the town's riprap.
Yes.
I do believe it's on the to the right, on the right-hand side of that silt fence, because that riprap, I do believe, stays there.
Correct,
Right.
riprap stays.
Okay. So Wes, how deep will that detention basin be?
Wes, are you in there? I mean,
I'm looking. I'm trying to see the elevations on my plan now, actually, while we talk about this. So the basin itself is 4 feet deep.
4 feet. Okay.
Yep. So that catch basin will eventually dump into that detention basin. And so the pond that you were showing earlier,
mm-hmm.
So that was a constructed detention basin when they made Rutland Heights Way.
Right.
So as part of that construction, they kind of improved that drainage system along Rutland Heights Way, and they put that riprap swale in there. And then they improved that detention basin as part of all that construction. There was already kind of a low point there as it was as part of that, the hospital site. But when they built Rutland Heights Way and made those improvements, they improved the drainage system in that street also.
Okay.
And so that detention basin, eventually when that gets constructed, then this is all done, that will be outletted back into that pond that you were showing on those initial pictures.
Okay, great. Alrighty.
Can I ask a question? This is Julian Votruba.
Yes, actually, Julian, wait 1 minute, then you can ask your question.
Okay.
I just want to ask the commission if they have any other questions or comments about anything that we've talked about so far.
No.
No, I don't think so. No?
I do. It's Glenda.
Hi, Glenda. What's up?
I just had noticed that I think a better application for erosion controls than a lot of what I was seeing out there would be a heavier silk compost filter tube. I found the straw wattles are highly ineffective, especially on paved surfaces, because you can't stake them down. But I think a heavier compost tube would work better out there, even some bales. That's all I had.
Okay. I will, as usual, leave it to the engineers to figure out what to do here. But thank you for your input there. I mean, you do have experience there, Glenda. Thank you. All right, Julian.
Hello. I've got the same question I had a few weeks ago, probably 2 meetings ago, with the silt that went down to the pond, and everybody seems to think that didn't happen, but I have a lot of pictures of it that it did happen, and all I'm asking is who is the SWIP person doing the weekly or after each storm event person, and then also if it happens again, who do I speak to have them stop putting silt into this pond? Because I believe it's going to happen again, and because nothing's been done to correct it. And I have quite a few pictures where I saw where it was coming from. So how do we handle this? I've been doing this a long time in this town, as you know. And if this was on one of the sites I'm dealing with, it would have been days of me coming up with solutions to fix this for you guys. So it didn't happen once. That's the issue that I have. I talked about it twice because there were 2 consecutive weeks that we had a storm. Pond was silted, cleared up because there's a lot of water going through there. Second time, another storm, cleared up. But one time earlier in the summer, it had that same situation happen. So this is just a preventative request that somebody's got to look into where this water is going down from the natural grades and do something so it doesn't go into the back of this pond, because the pond is pretty much owned by one entity, and it was a pond that was crystal clear, and it actually is a pond to the goes to the Demon Pond, which is a drinking water source. It has the 200-foot DCR protection, and this pond has DCR protection. So what is the solution to stop this from happening anymore? And I'm just throwing it out there, and I'll just keep the board aware of when I see, on behalf of my client, that the water is yellow and brown, and I think you guys have pictures. I brought them to the board. I haven't seen them come up on any of these screens, but when I came in and I was at the board, I had those, and I haven't even got who's in charge yet. This is a month ago now. Who is doing the SWIP, and are there SWIP reports that can be observed on that this is all being taken care of, and that they did find a problem and they fixed it? That would be awesome. So that's the start.
So let me start, Julian, with, we have the last 2 months of SWIP reports right now. We got, I asked for them yesterday, we got them yesterday or today.
Okay.
And I have not yet read them to see if they noted any of what you said.
Okay. Because there's 2 spots that the water, that I saw the water leaving there. That the pond, the Rutland Heights pond, was completely brown. And then over through the woods, over the hills and through the valleys, and it came into Kenwood Pond. And really did silt it up for like probably 3 days. And it's, like I said, so much water going through there that it keeps washing it. So it doesn't evaporate, it just goes downstream. And then I'll bring him into it because I've talked to him. You go all the way down to Turkey Hill and Justin Miner's property, or next to, adjacent to him, he says the water was all brown down there. That's another quarter of a mile away. So just to keep an eye on it so it doesn't continue, because this pond that's owned by my client, it was bought as a pristine water source of no silt. It was crystal clear, and now it's not anymore. So how do we get it back to where it was? That's all. So if you guys can come up with a solution and so I can relay it to my client, that would be great.
So I'll ask Ron, again, since I haven't read the SWIPs yet, I'm not in the position to comment, so I'll just ask, has any of this been detected has any siltation left the site and entered that pond opposite, across the DCR access road?
And we have not seen that ourselves. It has always gone into that, as you call it, temporary pond, and settled out down there. I did notice that your catch basin was plugged, that your town catch basin was all covered in leaves. When that water was very heavy last week, it was almost a foot deep. I didn't have boots to go and open it up. But other than that, it has not. It's only gone into that, what you call a temporary pond that Wes was saying it was built many moons ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go out and see it. I will go out and look at it.
Okay.
I'll get you some, Peter, I'll submit some of those pictures that you guys, I thought you had them, but I'll send them again.
It can't hurt to be sure that we have them.
Especially the one that's up by the existing Rutland Heights Road going over the hill.
I know we have some digitals. I know that he also brought some printed out, so.
Yeah, and he took all of them back.
Right. So yeah, digital copies are the best thing that we can keep.
Just so it stops. So, and the springtime's coming, and that's when it's gonna happen again.
Yep.
And then who's responsible for it? That's the other thing. Who is responsible for it if it does happen again? Who do I tell my client to go talk to?
The guy up there.
So it'd be the owner of the project, which I guess that's all public record. We could look it up that way.
Oh.
We're just hoping to get the people in charge and who to talk to directly. Try to just make it.
I think the joke is that we're not in charge of making rain.
No,
but
I know that.
Okay.
But anytime it rains, like I said, I shake because I'm worried about all the sites that I'm in control of having a bucket full of silt go down the street, and then all of a sudden I have all sorts of problems. And this one, the whole pond gets brown, and it's like, well, we didn't see it. So,
yeah. So
I don't want to just let it roll.
We are keeping a closer eye on it than we were before, Julian. Right. So we're not ignoring you. Let's start with that.
I know that because I'm kind of hard to ignore. So, All right, well, that was all. Let's hope maybe it solved it. Now that they got that little piece of road paved, it's gonna stop from going down, and great. We won't have any issues. But if it does, I just wanna catch it so that that pond doesn't turn into a brown, nasty mess. All right, well, thank you. That's all. All right, we'll talk to you. Oh, are you gonna be talking about Emerald Road?
You betcha.
Jim Harrity's enforcement. All right, then I'll hang on because I'm somewhat involved in that now. He called me, so I can give you an update. All right, I'll just go back onto mute.
The only other note that I have here is that I saw no evidence of siltation in the wetland across Rutland Heights Way. But that was admittedly, from Rutland Heights Way, I didn't get up close and personal with it. But there was no evidence. Considering what I saw elsewhere, I would have expected to see some if there was a problem. No, I don't want to do that right now. Questions or comments from the commission?
I have a request.
Yep.
This is Glenda. If, for Tamika, she's still here.
Oh, yeah.
If we could get the Rutland Heights notice of intent, order of conditions, plan, stormwater report, all that, operation and maintenance or whatever, put into, moved into the 2024 folder where it's easy to find, because I searched for a while as well and couldn't find anything.
Yep, I will take care of that.
Thanks.
Ron, if I could ask that you send SWIP reports to us right after they're written, so they're just coming to us now?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anything else from the commission? Anything else from the project folks?
No, I thank you for your time and bringing this up to us, and we will pay a much closer attention to it. I feel we've been doing a very good job at protecting that entire site. We created many diversions for any kind of flow to maintain it on site, and we'll pay attention to this part right here now.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, so moving on to Emerald Road. We knew that was coming. Last meeting, I believe was the last meeting we wrote the enforcement order. Let's see, Joe and I, and separately Glenda, did a walk. Glenda, do you remember the date of the walk? Actually, I can figure that out.
I was just gonna say I can find it.
Go here.
6th? Is that right? Saturday the 6th?
Probably. That sounds right.
Yep. Okay.
And Joe and I were less than impressed with the ECBs that had been installed. We saw lots of opportunity for stuff to escape and evidence that it was. Now, what date did we do the order? The 2nd? Probably.
Yep.
Yeah, would have
I issued it on the 3rd, Peter.
3rd, okay. So we went out after the order to inspect the ECBs. That's right, because we were trying to get there before the snow so that we could get it off our list, but we were not entirely impressed. And then on the infamous 13th, I did another inspection from the roadway, because we don't have orders, so we don't have permission to enter. So looking at the 3 lots, if you're looking from the roadway, the leftmost, which is the highest up the hill, is lot 1. I saw no evidence of siltation leaving the site. Great. I saw on lot 2, the middle one, on the west, which is the downhill side of the driveway, I believe that there is some minor siltation leaving the site on that side of the driveway. There were ECBs on the easterly side, but not on the westerly side. So they had ECBs on the uphill side, or at least it looked that way. I saw bales.
Any stone in the driveway, like a stabilized construction entrance?
As I recall, yes, there is.
Okay.
And then on lot 3, it is better than it was the last time I was there on the 6th. I don't know if it was intended or inadvertent, but with the addition of stone that they added on the west side of the driveway, they basically created a check dam, because the stone comes down, then levels off, then goes down. So there was some puddling in there, and clearly silt was being captured there. It was not entirely effective because some had worked down to the next level and was entering the roadway. No, let me say that differently. Let me be clear. It was going to the ECBs. It was clearly getting to the ECBs. It wasn't so clear to me that it was leaving the ECBs. It wasn't clear that it wasn't yet. And since there wasn't there wasn't real water flow, I know that I have seen pictures of water running under bales of hay. I didn't see that. In fact, this has wattles on lot 3, if I remember correctly. Again, the problem with not taking pictures is you're relying on my memory. Good luck, all of you. And as I said, if I said it, some siltation appears to be escaping. That includes through the ECBs. No pictures. I haven't been out since to take any.
So they stopped working on, didn't they?
I have seen people on site every time I've been there. But, I mean, to be equally fair, these were people doing siding and doing some interior work. I didn't see anybody doing earth movement activities.
Okay. But you say cease and desist, it should be everything, not just.
Right. Anyone from the commission have questions on all of that?
Is there anybody here representing them?
Yes.
And we're gonna.
This is Julian.
We're gonna have Julian come in and talk now. So Julian, tell us, please.
I talked to Jim Harity a week and a half ago, and he asked me if I could take a look and see what I'm seeing. And since then, he's done. I don't know when you went out there, Peter, but since you've been out there, they have put in some more riprap and some more erosion control. There hasn't been any significant rain. There's been snow.
Right.
So whether it's working right now or not exactly the way we want it to is hard to say, but we'll see very shortly. The main thing is that he is on it, and you asked the question, gave him the cease and desist that he's got to take care of this issue, the earthwork part of it. I remember this discussion the last meeting 2 weeks ago, which I was not retained by Mr. Harity. I was just a person in the audience. But since then, he's called me and asked me if I'd be interested in looking at it and seeing if we can come up with a solution to help fix the problem. And it's basically he's on the top of the hill, and the road is below him, and the water's washing down there. And what I'm seeing is that exact situation. But he has put in more riprap, and did some grading along the entrances to try to solve the issue. He may have to do some more, but right now he is doing something to try to keep the fines from going down into Emerald Road and going in the gutter and possibly getting further downstream. And like you say, he's well outside the 100-foot buffer of any wetlands, but there is a gutter that carries stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other question that he asked me to look at is what went down the gutter. And my opinion is there was definitely some erosion, but I think a lot of that erosion was the actual roadway itself that contributed to what you guys saw 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So to say it all came from his site, I don't agree with that. But let's try to stop anything from leaving his site so that we can prove it correctly. And unfortunately, this time of year, it's a tough thing to do because you can't really dig when it gets frozen, and you don't want to look the other way. So when it does stop melting, we got to be on it. And I believe Mr. Harity and his contractor are well aware that if a situation happens like the last time, there's going to be some big problems, and he wants to avoid that. So we just got to monitor it like everything else, and hopefully what he has done is going to help considerably. And if it doesn't, we'll add to it to make sure it stops.
Okay.
And that's all I can say for this time of year, because it's tough right now.
There is no question this is a difficult time of year to guess when the rain is going to come, when the water is going to come next. As I said, it's better than it was the first time I was there. Good.
And I think it's even better now. In this last week, he did a little bit more.
Right. So
sounds like we should take another look.
I'm going to take another look. I'm going to try and get there tomorrow.
He did send me, there are some pictures. I can probably send them to Tamika that I got late this afternoon that I thought he sent them to you guys, but I guess he didn't. There was a couple nice pictures of what's been done. So I'll get those off to you guys tomorrow morning.
That's great. I will still plan to visit.
On it, make sure we don't have an issue.
I have one other question, Julian, that I have to talk about something I don't really know about, so it bothers me to even mention it, but I have seen some emails floating around about another swale. Or do you know anything about that? I might have been talking about with respect to a butter's property. I don't have a context for it, so I don't know how to ask the question well.
No, all I've been looking at, the only thing that I've looked at on that site is pretty much what you guys looked at.
Okay.
The road, the gutter in the road, and the entrance of the driveways. I haven't even walked all the way up to the top on the back side of the property to see what's coming on. I was just looking at how is he trying to keep this off of Emerald Road.
Right.
So I've been more than happy to look at it once the snow disappears. And so, but yeah, well, he is definitely on alert that we got to make sure that nothing worse happens, and we control what's happening at the site. He's definitely well aware of your stance on that. He has to make sure that this doesn't continue to happen.
Okay. So, assuming I get out there tomorrow, and I'll bring my phone to take pictures this time.
Okay.
Jared,
Hi, this is Jim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just a minute, please. Hold on. Jared, when do you think you can make it out?
Let's see. Did you want to try to coordinate a time to get out there together?
If we can.
Okay.
I always prefer to have multiple eyes looking at things.
I could do Saturday morning. But if you'd like to get out there earlier.
I definitely want to get out there earlier, and probably during the day, so that's probably leaves you out.
It's tough for me.
Okay, then we'll go separately.
Peter, I'm working from home Thursday and Friday, if that helps. Just text me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to look at the weather.
Okay.
Because if it's... good. No real chances of yucky stuff. Okay.
Friday.
And even then, it's not a really high probability.
If you do go Friday, just let me know. There's a slight chance I could maybe join you Friday.
All right.
Weekdays are tough for me in general.
So Julian, our goal is to evaluate your ECBs this week. I can't make it more precise than that. It's gonna depend on when we can get out.
Okay.
You got permission
Well,
from
I will
the
let him know
if you wanna go
that's
on.
what you're doing. I have a small conflict that I'm going away for a few days on Thursday, so I won't be around this weekend. So, but I think you'll see what he has done, and hopefully it's enough. And if we need to do more, we will do more.
Okay.
This is Jim. Can I jump in now?
Oh, there he is.
Yes, please do. Hey, Jim.
Hello. So if I could just kind of maybe address the overall situation. As you mentioned, Peter, Lot 1, I didn't see any problems with. Lot 2, you mentioned on the east side of the driveway there might be some coming out, but that driveway is actually below grade of the road. So anything that's coming down, the majority of the water coming down was going on to my property around my house and out into the back and then out the other side at Lot 3. So anything coming out of there was just it was basically from the road that was trickling into the stone and then coming out the east side of that driveway. On Lot 3, you mentioned again the west side of that driveway, so I probably need a couple more hay bales there. But where I identified the major problem was the water coming in Lot 2 driveway, going around the back, and then it was like a river that went in and out and then out Lot 3. So
okay.
So what I have done is I've dammed the east side of the driveway, where you saw the straw wattles.
Mm-hmm.
And just a side note on that, I was kind of hoping that I would have some communication with the commission so I could get some clarification on what you wanted, because I wasn't exactly sure. So I put the straw wattles in and hoping that I could have met you there and gotten some clarification.
Yes,
but on top of
I will say I had intended to call you before I went, but it's very. I don't have a clear schedule when I can say I'm going to be there at this time to let you know in advance. So hopefully this week we can coordinate that so we can be sure that I'm not trying to talk past you at all. I'm just trying to, I agree. Our goal is solve the problems that we see, which clears the cease and desist. We're trying to help you and help ourselves. So I think we all have fairly much the same goals.
Sure.
And so.
So if I could finish also.
Yep, please do.
And so now that we have dammed that side, in the back of the property, I put a drainage pipe that goes on the back of Lot 3. So anything that accumulates behind that dam will get picked up by that drain, and it'll come out on the other side of Lot 3 on my property. It comes out, 100 feet away from the road is where the drain is in back. And so I don't think there's going to be any issues with that, except for maybe that, which I probably throw a few more hay bales down on that west side of that driveway. But even the stuff that's coming out of there is minimal. And then I guess the thing that hasn't been talked about is and I believe the order was for me to clean up the silt that got into the wetlands. Now, I don't, if I did something wrong and it was on me, I'd be the first one to jump in there. But to say that all of that silt came from my property, I think defies logic. If you look at both sides of the roads up the hill, down the hill, everything's draining into that area. And if that silt came from my property, then what we had in those last two storms, that would have been a football field size compared to what I would have contributed to that. So I don't know how you can say that that's all from me. If you really look at that road with those major storms that we've had, it's been pretty bad over there.
Right. I don't think we're claiming that all the siltation was caused by came from your site. I think we need a determination about that once we get the silt stopped. I think that's a separate step. I don't, I mean, Melissa can correct me when I make this statement, but I'm just going to say what I'm thinking, which is that the dealing with the siltation that entered the wetlands, however much of it can be determined as yours or came from your site, is not something that's going to stop the lifting of, that would prevent the lifting of the C&D when the time comes. Because it's now too late to clean it anyway at this time of year. So that'll be, I hate to call it a later problem, but that's a later problem. The determination of how much and the cleaning of it, all of that, we will deal with in the springtime, but we just need to get the siltation stopping so there can be nothing more can be blamed on you. That's what I want to say.
Sure, no, I understand that. And what might help determine that is if after one of these extreme events that we have, if you go over there and look at the road, I think it'll be pretty clear that of what's happening over there. You'll see both sides of the road, and that wetlands is at the low point in between, two hills, one hill on where I'm building and another one down the road, and you can see the gullies being created by the runoff on both sides of the road, not just there, all the way down to Kenwood Road. That road gets washed out after every extreme event. And so I think if you get over there after one of those, you'll be able to see it for yourself as to what the conditions are after one of these storms.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get out there in the next several days, this week, and
and you do have my permission. You do have my permission to go on the property also if you want.
Great, thank you. That was in fact one of the questions I was going to ask.
And you can go in the back and you can look at the drain. You can see, if you look closely, you can see that lot 2 is lower than the road.
Right.
And you can almost see what was happening with the water coming in and then circling around and going out.
Okay. Melissa, to lift the C&D, does that have to be a vote of the entire commission?
Yes, but we could authorize you to do so upon a successful site visit.
So we want to do that?
Only because if he fixes the problem, I don't want to wait another week and a half beyond when we've looked at it to clear the C&D. I don't think that's to anybody's benefit.
So you need a motion to give Peter permission to lift the restrictions after site review.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Second.
There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Clark, aye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Dan's aye.
Williamson, aye.
Crane, aye. Good. Even though it's self-serving. So there we go. As soon as we see the improvements, as soon as we deem the improvements sufficient, we can lift the C&D.
Yep.
All right. If I get the opportunity, I will call you in advance, Julian, and Jim, so that we can arrange a site visit together so that there aren't questions.
Yeah, I'm away for 2 weeks. That's why I'm zooming in. And if
right.
Julian is available, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Julian.
Supposed to be straw, not hay.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, folks.
Bye.
Julian's not gonna be there either, you know that.
Yeah, well, if it goes to the weekend. There.
Julian's leaving Thursday.
Ah, okay.
For a couple of
That's what he
days.
said for the
That's right.
weekend.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
If we can't
Oh,
arrange it
weekend.
with them, it's fine. We've done plenty without. Moving on, processes and procedures. I think we gave this to Melissa. At least I'm gonna say it's her.
Yes, you did. I think I was just cleaning up some of the things that I sent to Bree with some of our specific ones. So I think I have half of them done, if I remember right. So I'll finish up those half, and I think because I think we have an extra week before the next meeting, so I should have those done by then.
That's correct. And the downside of extra weeks is that then we get back into sync with the select board, them Monday, us Tuesday. And with President's Day coming up, somebody's got to move.
It's them.
We'll figure that out later.
Because we're more important.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Wetlands bylaw, as I said, I'm not going to do anything until after February. So, do we have any public comment today? I see no hands. Is there any other business before the commission?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call. We're going to start at the far side. Williamson.
Williamson, aye.
Dan's eye.
Jim Slucci.
Sorry, Dan's eye.
Clock eye.
Crane eye. We're adjourned at 7:56. Thanks, everybody.